morning, good afternoon, everyone. We've got a global audience, so we even have some people probably where it's evening. It's great to have all of you here. Welcome to the Cargo Now Fireside Chat that we've organized, focused on Japan and with our partners Ocean Insights. So we've got a great team here today. My co-host this afternoon or today is Mr. Wayne Yoshida, based in Japan, who is the features editor for Cargo Now magazine and also a recruitment professional in his own right. And with us today, we've got a great panel of five. We've got Ms. Sakura Kuma, Ms. Misuzu Maruyama, Mr. Yoshinori Saito, Mr. Naresh Agrawal, and Mr. Josh Brazil from Ocean Insights. Say hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Okay, we're going to kick off by asking each one of you just to give us a short, brief 1 minute introduction about yourself and your company and your background. Starting with you, Sakura.
Hey, thank you. So good morning, good evening, good whatever from the global. And first of all, thank you for the organizer Cargo Now inviting us, and also thanks for the wonderful panelists. It's an honor to be together with you. And finally, I have to thank for the audience, although I cannot see you all, but I know you're somewhere. I hope the time that we can spend together and the discussion we're going to deliver would be something fruitful for you. And I wish you all the best. My name is Sakura Kuma. I have been in the shipping and port community of this industry for the last 2 decades. And I stationed in Japan and Los Angeles, and my work gave me a lot of experiences overseas. So I enjoy work with the people from different cultural backgrounds, which makes me very excited about tonight's Fire Chat. Thank you.
Thanks, Sakura. Yourself next, Misuzu.
Yeah, hi, thank you. My name is Misuzu Maruyama. I'm a Chief Commercial Officer of Shenka Seino. So I am in charge of the entire sales in Shenka in Japan. And maybe some of you may be able to tell from my accent that I have been in Singapore for more than 20 years. I just came back to Japan 2 years ago. So thank you for the Cargo Now to give me the opportunity to join this chat today. Thank you.
No, Misuzu, thanks for joining us. Yoshinori.
Yes, hello everyone. First of all, thank you for coming now for this opportunity today. Well, my name is Yoshi Saito, based in Tokyo, working for the Azelis Japan. Well, we're in the chemical industry, handling for the whole supply chain in Japan. Thank you.
Josh, over to you.
Hi, Raymond. Thank you. Thank you for having me, and welcome everybody to this webcast. It's great to see everybody here. Thanks for taking the time to join us. My name is Josh Brazil. I'm the Chief Operations Officer at Ocean Insights. I've been with Ocean Insights for going on 4 years now, and I come from a software as a service background. Ocean Insights is a leading pioneer in ocean freight visibility. We started this very early on in the game. What we offer is basically a control tower software for advanced real-time visibility on ocean freight. We also offer data services, and our customer base is global freight forwarders, shippers, and other software providers that could include TMS and ERP systems. So we're global, and happy to go into it a little bit more during the podcast. Thank you.
Fantastic, Josh. Thanks. Well, let's kick off, yeah? And I'm going to throw this first question to Sakura and Misuzu. So from an NYK and from a Schenker perspective, yeah? Has visibility developed quite a fair bit with ocean freight? And does this create new opportunities? Are your customers asking you for this visibility, around what, for example, Ocean Insights does? Are your customers asking you for more visibility in their supply chain? And are they willing to pay for that? I'll ask you first, Misuzu.
Okay, so thanks for asking me as a first person. Then I'm so proud that I'm the first person to answer this. So yes, indeed, Schenker has developed the visibility tool for ocean freight. And then from our study says that one shipment from Asia to Europe, there are about 30 people or the transactions is involved. And then this consists of the over 200 communications and the transactions. So I think providing the digitalized platform for the customer to have the visibility is really crucial. Is the one thing is to reduce the workload and then also to minimize the mistake.
Okay, great, fantastic. Nice, short, sharp answer. Sakura-san, what about yourself? What about from NYK perspective?
Right. So NYK is a shipping company. Nowadays, if you are a customer, if you hold a BO number, the number of BO lading, or if you have a container number, actually, it is traceable. So I would say in our industry, visibility has been a key issue even before the pandemic. And it will be an constantly important issue post-pandemic. And fairly a good visibility is developed, I should say. But when we think the logistics, the flow of the cargo from the door to door, maybe there's some sections we will lose the data, lose the visibility in the transmission. So that's the parts the whole industry need to work on. And I guess if the value it can be proved, customer will be reasonably agree for the premium. But it's a balance of demand and supply. In a perfect world, we would like to transfer every cost we have to the customers, but not there yet.
Okay, so you're saying that customers are willing to pay a premium, but it also depends on how much that premium is. But there is that desire.
Right. It also depends on the demand and the supply, balance. If the customers are too strong, maybe we have to swallow the cost. It's always like this, right?
Yeah, it is a natural fact of life. Yeah. What about yourself, Misuzu? So do you think customers are willing to pay that premium or not?
Really, it again depends on the demand and supply, and then we need to see the competitive environment as well. So, however, especially now in the COVID situation, because of the work from home, the needs for the the visibility is significantly increased. So I think the company is also trying to look for the area where they can provide the good platform for the employee to be able to work efficiently from home. Then I think that with a very good balance, customers are willing to pay for some premium.
Okay, so let me flip now over to Yoshi as a shipper. So has COVID-19 affected your business's need for visibility? Or you think it's still business as usual and you don't want to pay for it, the customer needs to pay for it? But sorry, the 3PL or the forwarder needs to bear the cost.
Yes, I am the shipper and consignee as well. From our view, well, I mean, first of all, I'm glad to say that we are not being affected by the COVID-19. So our business being
good for you,
stable while, so it's good news. But in general, it's effective to all other markets for sure. And the visibility is always the key, but it's depending on the scale of your business today. For me, no need at this moment, because based on the container number, we can track through the shipping line,
carrier,
carriers and freight forwarders tracking systems as well. So
I'll come back to that because we had a conversation prior to this, right? And we also talked about it depends a lot on how much volume you have. Yeah?
Right.
So that's also a part of the equation, but we'll come
Yeah.
back to that conversation.
Okay. Yep.
I'll ask Josh this next question because we've heard from the shipping line, we've heard from the forwarder, we've heard from the shipper. Now let's ask the service provider. What are your customers telling you or asking you, Josh? Is there a need for this visibility? And do you foresee it happening or continuing post-COVID-19? Josh?
Yeah, great. And, interesting perspectives previously. Absolutely. Just to answer the question directly, absolutely, there's a need for it. And it is dependent on volume. So our typical use case is either going to be freight forwarders or shippers. And usually they're coming to us because they're traditionally doing manual processes. Maybe they're just searching the website of the carrier and getting the BL number, putting that into an Excel table, entering that into their own system. It's a very manual process, and it's always been a manual process. And probably to most people's surprise, they're still doing this a lot in a lot of organizations. Well, obviously, when you get beyond several hundred containers that you're trying to track and trace on a daily basis, of course, that doesn't make any sense. So when it comes to the question of affordability, for us, the way we see it is it's a cost-saving measure. It's not an expense, because at some point you're spending so much on either personnel to do this. There's potential errors that could happen. For freight forwarders, they want to be able to offer visibility to their customers. So, we're doing B2B. They want to be able to improve their customer service for their customers. And if freight forwarders today are not able to provide that visibility, that real-time update, let's call it that Amazon experience, they're losing a competitive advantage against other freight forwarders that do offer it. So it's in many cases, it's a must-have, especially with the COVID pandemic that just came through. We noticed that there was a big uptake in digitization in general. We actually did an industry survey in April and May, where we had respondents from over 300 professionals in the shipping and freight industry. And 43% of those said that they were interested in changing their supply chain strategies. So that meant to us that they're losing personnel who are not able to carry out the tasks that they previously did. Maybe they're doing home office, but they're not available. We don't know. But 67%, almost 68% were ready to invest in new technologies. So that means digitizing their processes. So it's big, and it's on top of their radars, and they're moving in that direction.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. So I guess, we're all quite aligned here, yeah? Isuzu started, Sakura continued. So there is that need for visibility. I think all of us agree on that. And Yoshi said also it depends how much volume we have as well. Yeah, so and with COVID-19, I think that's made it more necessary. The only question is who pays for it. Can we pass that cost on to the customer? Or as a service provider, should I have to bear that cost? That's the million-dollar question, yeah? Well, here's another question for you, Josh. For our listeners, what do you think are some of the major problems, like a tool like Ocean Insights can provide? Because I saw this paper that you guys did on detention and demurrage. Yeah? So what sort of tools or things can you provide?
Okay, well, yeah, the pain point really there is the time-consuming manual processes that are, prone to error. So you have less than optimal outcomes in your supply chain when you don't have visibility. And that less than optimal outcome can come in the form of demurrage and detention fees that you're charged because you don't have visibility on your containers when they're arriving, if they arrive too early. And lots of companies face a lot of demurrage and detention fees, and it makes up a large portion of those shipping costs. So when we talk about passing the cost of visibility onto the customer, it's mitigated by the other savings that you get easily. On the other hand, that you save from all of these fees, as well as just general inventory optimization that you get out of it. Basically, this amounts to, again, it's freight forwarders versus shippers. They may have different pain points that they're looking for. The freight forwarders, again, they want to offer this to their customers as a piece of their customer service. They may have their own platform, so we do offer an API data service. So our information can be integrated into their own systems quite easily. So it's not a big jump to take Ocean Insights data into your own system, or they may just want to use the web platform instantly. But it comes down to having that visibility to make not only operational decisions, but strategic decisions as well. So not only on a day-to-day operational basis of where's my container, you can also start gathering information on port performance, carrier performance, how well am I doing? And when you take a large organization that's acting or operating globally, they can start making some strategic decisions for the organization. Where do I optimize my free time? Am I spending too much with this carrier? Is this carrier not performing as good as they should? Perhaps they can use it for negotiating freight rates. There's a whole mountain of data sets that you can start collecting to make more strategic decisions on top of those daily operational decisions as well.
Thank you, Josh. Let me just pause 1 second to take the time to thank Ocean Insight for making this evening possible. Thank you for the panelists as well and all the attendees for joining in a big number. So again, thank you for this evening. Next question again to you, Josh. What specific tools do you think are important with this particular pain point?
Good question. So our platform it's a container track and trace platform, which is essentially a control tower. It's built around what we call exception management. Probably familiar with you. For those of you not familiar with exception management, the concept is basically, look, if you're tracking several hundred containers at a time, you don't need to know their geoposition, where they're at. What you need to know is the ones that are going to cause you trouble. So which ones are going to be delayed, which ones are stuck in port, which ones are stuck in transshipment port, which ones may be at risk of rollover. So what we have is a dashboard. That's an exception management dashboard. It's completely customizable, so you can edit your own alerts and views on which exceptions you need. So having that control tower with all of your shipments, and independent of the carrier, on one platform is extremely helpful. And so it's collaborative amongst teams. You can share links with your clients if you want to. We have also a predicted ETA. So you're not just reliant on perhaps the carrier's marketed ETA. We also incorporate AIS data into the platform, so you see where the vessel is in real time. You can also compare that against the vessel's ETA. So we have a very clear, comparable ETA that will give you basically confidence back, because there's, I think, a lot in the industry. There's a lot of questions. Is this ETA correct and whatnot? But on top of that, we put some smart intelligence on top of that and make the alerts easier for you to view. So we incorporate incident alerts as well. If there's any major incidents, such as storms, port strikes, blank sailings, pirate attacks, you name it, that is also knocked into the system, and you'll get a warning that's connected specifically to your container. And this all helps the users basically be proactive. Proactive in their container management means you're getting less demurrage and detention fees, you're having less issues with your customers, and you can collaborate with your teams. You can upload documents also to the platform. And like I said earlier, on top of that, just that, operational usability, you can then start making strategic decisions as an organization to improve your inventory optimization, for example, and your supply chain strategy in general.
Josh, I'm just going to cut you off there, because one of the things you said was that, if there's a storm or there's a hurricane, you can also input that into your decision making. So how does Ocean Insights do that? Is it pulling, I don't know, global weather data, or how do you do that, or is it a manual entry?
Yeah, so it's a combination of manual and automated tracking news, basically. So we have some news trackers. We do that both manually and automated. Anything that is major, obviously a hurricane coming through is going to delay those shipments. That doesn't necessarily mean we can predict the ETA on that, but we will give you a time of arrival warning. So it's a heads up. Same goes for port strikes. And there's just large events that may delay various shipping routes.
So Ocean Insights subscribes to a third-party service. I'm assuming that you're able to extract this information through an API that gets input into OI.
That's right. It's several different sources. Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's fantastic. I mean, that's where you get that predictive analytics coming in, into your supply chain. Well, today we've got 21 participants from 21 different countries. I think that's a small record for us. We normally get 10, 15 countries, but 21. That's a great job, Wayne. Thanks a lot for helping to promote the event. What questions do we have coming in from the group, Wayne?
First question from Davide, thank you. Josh was talking about visibility for single shipments. Can we have an example how we will face demurrage costs? How can this visibility help achieving saving for single event?
Sure, great question. So as you know, one example of this is you could have a container arrive early at POD. Traditionally, you may not get this information if it's arriving early. You may not have an ETA. You may just get a notice that it arrived at some point, but you don't have any more information on that. So with the visibility system, you'll see that the vessel will arrive ahead of schedule, so you can start taking actions ahead of schedule. You'll know when it arrived at port, and you'll know how long it's been stuck in port. So with this, exception dashboard, essentially, you can see exactly how long this container has been stuck in POD, port of loading, port of discharge, also last inland facility as well. So that's how you save. That's how you save on it. You need to be proactive and act on it. We can't just save your demurrage and detention fees for you, but certainly if you're able to act upon those alerts, you can take action.
Ocean Insights provides the information, and then it's of course up to the shipper or the forwarder to actually decide what they want to do with it. And I guess very few of us are going to say, just let's leave that container there and let's incur more demurrage and detention.
But it's really astounding. I mean, we've heard so many stories where there's containers stuck for 12, 14 days, and these fees just get racked up incredibly. And large shippers spend in the millions every year on demurrage and detention fees. So it's a big savings spot. We have several use cases where they've been able to save. Our clients have been able to save upwards of 65% of their demurrage and detention fees.
Oh, that's cool.
Over a period of time. So that's a 2/3 savings.
I'm going to come back to that.
That can be quite.
I'm going to come back to that, Josh, because I think it's always going to be great when we can share real life examples. But before we come to that, do we have any other questions, Wayne, coming in?
A question from Naresh. I hope your mic is working. Can Ocean Insight system also give a heads up in the container that are expected to be rolled at transshipment, port due, or port congestion?
Yes, great question. Yes, we can. We have container rollover warnings, and essentially this is connected in a way to our predictive ETA. So if there's a transshipment in the schedule, and we see that vessel will not arrive in time for that next leg of the journey, we can then knock on an automatic rollover warning into the system. So you'll get a heads up of that, yes.
All right, cool. We've talked a fair bit for the last 15, 20 minutes about visibility in the supply chain. But let me ask NYK and Schenker, the freight forwarder and the service provider, what other ways are you helping stakeholders in the supply chain ecosystem? What do you think your customers need from you that they see the most value aside from visibility? Misuzu.
Yeah, hi. By the way, Narish, your smile is very beautiful, even we can't hear your voice, yeah? Okay,
That's very nice of you, Misuzu.
So talking about the other, what is the other thing that we can help the customers with other than the visibility is like, okay, the Schenker case is that we have department we have the group of engineers who does data analysis. So this group of people that every day they are doing the analysis of the data or the checking the pattern or the simulates or predicts. So and then also on top of that, we have a group of the people or the innovation team who is working with the partner companies or the stakeholders to try to find out something beyond the efficiency, or that we try to find to go for the value more than the efficiency to, in any digitalized or the digitized environment that what we can do. So with this investment we have from our head office that we can provide or the give back to customers that our values beyond the efficiency.
Can I jump in and ask a question, Ms. Susie? That was a good point. What particular data sets are you guys interested in? Are there any particular KPIs that you guys are exploring?
We have a bunch of KPIs for your information.
Who doesn't, right?
Yeah, so I think that I'm not so sure what is your nationality, but the Germans and the Japanese, I think, really like to keep up with the KPIs. So we measuring any kind of data, whatever we can measure. So I don't know if I'm answering your question, but that is what I can answer.
From my understanding, Misuzu, let me take a stab at it. So a company like Schenker, you will have some sort of track and trace tool, and you have different milestones that you can track and trace, right? So then it depends on what the customer wants. Some people want you to keep track the milestone when the cargo is loaded. Some is when the document is issued. So you can track maybe 300 or 400 different events in the entire end-to-end, and then you customize it based on what the customer requires. Is that correct?
Yeah. So we have the basic base milestones to keep track, to provide, to be able to provide to customer like Yoshi. I'm not so sure whether I can provide, but those are the standard milestones which we are providing for free. But on top of that, because the different customer want to track the different milestones, so those data we capture.
Sakura, back to you then.
Well, in my business, before October, I was in a port, Yokohama port, there for 3 years and 9 months. And then before that, I was in Los Angeles, another port for 2 years. So kind of port and shipping, when we do the connections, there's I think that the key issue is automation. That's the future of our industry. And it also be the key issue to improve the visibility. If we have many procedures handled manually, it's hard to keep or to improve the visibility. So automation has another benefit, increase the safety. Before pandemic, we were talking about our aging of the working force, and we need automation. But I think when we pass through the pandemic, the need's going to be even more, because now we were not talking about the aging issue of the labor force. Now we're just talking about how to protect the essential workers. In our industry, we always have front lines, like the crews on the vessels. That's the hard part to reduce. So there's a people there, life there. how to protect them from contracting the virus, right? And it's not only about the visibility. At the end of the day, it will also improve the visibility, but it's the people's life. It matters more in this sense. So technology will bring the innovation. At the end of the day, is to improve the visibility. But before that, it's to create a better working environment and a safer one.
Well, okay. Sorry. Yeah. Let me ask Naresh. Naresh, can you hear us? And can we hear you more importantly?
Yes, I can hear everyone very well. How about you now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Okay.
Oh, finally.
Finally. So let me ask you a question, Naresh. Let me give you a chance to participate. Yeah. So this is a kind of a trick question or a curveball, because Sakura said, automation is key. Someone told me just yesterday, they said, I would not work in logistics or freight forwarding because in 10 or 12 years' time, it's going to be fully automated. Yeah, they won't need us anymore. What do you think of that, Naresh?
Well, I think it's partially true because like Sakura also mentioned, and I fully agree that the future of this industry is moving more towards automation. It's not that something people like to do. It's by necessity. As they say, necessity is the mother of all inventions, and Corona has just made it. It's enforcing most of the shippers in the industry to move towards automation. Now, to answer your question, I think while we will see more and more automation happening, it will actually allow the industry people to focus more on the value added services within logistics industry, because we see so many opportunities with automation coming in to offer more and more solutions to our customers. So I think it's not directly going to result in the lay off all the manpowers in the industry. No, that I don't think that will really happen. But as you might also see in the newspapers, we are seeing more and more awareness on staying updated, how critical it is to stay updated with the industry. And with new technologies coming in, the industry is moving more towards the innovation, more towards a solution for the customers.
Okay,
so
great.
I think that's where we are heading to, probably, with automation coming in.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks, Naresh. Good to have you with us. And I'm glad we managed to fix your technology problem. Yeah, right. Yoshi, here's a question for the 3PLs or the vendors. Why don't you share with us, what do you think some of the significant value, and this, it can be advice to Josh, to Naresh, Misuzu, Sakura. What do you think your 3PL or 2PL of freight solutions vendor, what product or what value can they give you? What are you looking for as a shipper?
Well, basically, as a shipper, yeah, yeah, it is, of course. Well, I believe that everyone is looking for the digitalization for sure, and optimization, because that would be the benefit for all shipper. I would say exporter, importer as well. And if we have the system that the one-stop shop and view everything we need from door to door, that will be very easier for the operation side as well as the analyst, based to see the KPI. Well, of course, it's depending on what exactly a KPI sets, but yeah. So that's basically a need for, I think, everyone.
All right, thanks, Yoshi.
Yep.
Josh, coming back to you, you talked a bit about visibility and demurrage and detention and the benefits that someone would get. Can you give us a couple of examples how Ocean Insights has helped your customers' operations? Just 2 short examples.
Sure. So with Demergent Detention, for example, we have a customer that's a major automotive supplier, global automotive supplier, and they rolled out the Ocean Insights system globally among all their global business units. And they carried out an analysis of just one single of their business units where they measured port performance to optimize their free time, and they're also able to actively intervene in delays with their containers with the visibility. They did an analysis, and in just one of these business units across a 2-month period, they were able to save $165,000 in detention fees compared to the previous period. So again, that was that example I showed previously, shortly, where you had this 2/3 drop in fees for them.
So that was 165,000. 165,000 over how long?
2 months. 2 months.
Wow.
So very short period. Yeah. Again, a very large global organization. So
how many TEUs are you talking about?
I don't have that offhand, but okay. In general, if you're able to A, intervene, and B, optimize your free time, because in this case, this is a situation where previously business units have basically their own decision power over their free time optimization, but that may not benefit the organization as a total. So again, with these KPIs, insight, you can start making strategic decisions for the organization. The second example, and this happens really for a lot of our clients, it's just the very low-hanging fruit of they have teams of people manually carrying out all of this container tracking. They're writing emails, they're calling on the phone, they're entering stuff in Excel tables. Maybe they're already working with a software, but it's not an integrated software, and they have to go back and forth between different systems. And they're seeing just plenty of time saved on manpower. Mm-hmm. So that adds up really fast when you consider, hey, this person, 5 people are working 3 hours a day on this. That can add up to a lot of savings.
Okay, so look, it's just not about just the hard savings anyway. It's just not about saving on detention and demurrage. It's fantastic. I mean, you save $165,000 over 2 months. That's brilliant. And if you have 5 people doing some very low, non-value added work, then you can then automate the process and redeploy them somewhere where they will be more useful within the organization. That's good as well. But I think Ocean Insights and companies like Ocean Insights, there's also the intangible benefits, right? Things such as visibility. What else? The intangible benefits, not just about hard savings and money, intangible benefits.
Yeah, great point. Because obviously the biggest intangible benefit is inventory optimization. That's just the big elephant in the room. But of course, it's hard to put hard numbers on that because it's spread across global organizations. But by and far, global inventory optimization is a huge savings factor. Mm-hmm. When you're able to, if you're an automotive supplier and you're doing just-in-time manufacturing, just-in-time delivery, and you don't have overview of this, you're shooting in the dark essentially. Right. So just that alone, you don't need to call in air freight anymore for emergency services. You may see this a potential delay happening. You can take other options other than emergency air freight, which is very costly.
Right. Cool. Wayne, what questions do we have coming in?
We don't have questions from the attendees yet, but I do have one. Josh mentioned about inventory optimization, and I'm thinking using this as also like a floating warehouse. Maybe Naresh and Yoshi. Naresh, you haven't had a chance to speak much, but I think coming -1 from the industry, warehouse space in Japan is a problem. Is that the fact? I mean, is it difficult for companies to book or to have warehouse space, and with this service optimize inventory management. Yeah.
So, yeah, thanks, Wayne. If I may share some feedback. Basically, what we are saying, yes, warehousing space in Japan is very expensive if you compare it with the other markets. And going back to what Josh also shared, uh, talking about the inventory optimization, yes, it is one of the critical points in Japan for the shippers and the consignees. They do look for the solutions, visibility solutions, especially in this Corona times. We have actually seen a lot of customers ending up with a lot of additional buffer stock, unanticipated stock in Japan because they could not control the supplies in time. So I think a lot of this it could also be benefited from the supply chain visibility solutions in the coming months. And yes, not having visibility would directly result in all these additional costs, which could be quite expensive in Japan for the customers.
Thank you. I think the other question. Sorry, Stevenson. He's asking which would be the top 3 most preferred visualization product used in freight and logistics forwarding. I don't know who would like to take that one. Top 3 most preferred visualization product.
Maybe I'll take it. It depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for air freight, there's the industry is divided into end-to-end visibility. You have ocean freight visibility. You have trucking visibility, air freight, and rail. So the industry is very diverse in that sense. You'll start to see probably consolidation among some of these. But it really depends on your region, where you live. If you're in North America or if you're in Asia, it may be different. And it depends on which mode of transport you want. So certainly Ocean Insights is one of the global leaders in ocean freight. That's what we do best.
I guess the name gives it away. Yeah. All right. There's another question here from Miguel. As an added value service based on data, what type of report seems to be the most appreciated by your customers? And this is maybe one for our service providers, Sakura, Misuzu, and Nourish. What sort of reports do you think your customers are asking you for?
Yeah, so if I can answer this question. So basically, in general, most of the time, the common request we see is for customers to have the flexibility to pull the report online anytime in their own customized format, to have the visibility and overview of all the shipments that they have shipped in a certain period of time. It could be in 1 month's time or 3 months. It really depends on customer to customer's requirement. But customers are expecting more accessibility to the reports with their own customization online. That's a general trend we are seeing recently more and more.
Okay, great. Thanks, Nourish. Look, in the interest of
I'm
time...
not sure if that answers the question.
It does. Thank you very much. But in the interest of time, we're going to wrap up here. But before we go, what I'd like to do is I'm going to ask each of the 5 panel members and also Wayne, my co-host. I'm going to put Wayne on the spot as well. But what do you see happening in the supply chain space in the next 12 to 24 months in each of your respective areas? You know, we are in the midst of COVID-19, right? I think we all agree that we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. I expect that by Q2 or maybe by Q3 next year, vaccines will start becoming available. Fingers crossed. Yeah, we hope. Yeah, but you know, I mean, from an optimistic view. So when we emerge from COVID-19 in 12 or 24 months, what do you see happening in the supply chain space in the future? Naresh, starting with you, since you have the floor.
So I believe more and more customers will onboard supply chain visibility solutions. No doubt about that. We do see this increasing dramatically with Corona coming up. And secondly, I think despite the visibility solutions in place, there is always going to be a concern on the data quality, on how accurately is the system responding to the exceptions that Josh earlier referred to. So a lot of exceptional handling. How does the system deal with that? I think that is going to be the next challenge for the industry to deal with. So end-to-end visibility solution is going to be the basic trend in the next 24 months, probably. And after that, I think it's going to go much ahead in terms of drilling further into exceptional handling and things like that.
All right, thanks, Naresh. What about yourself, Yoshi? Give us the shipper's perspective.
Well, I think of course, everyone knows that the benefit of the visibility is the key, of course, and I think I'm not so sure, but the working at home, it becomes in general here in Japan as well.
Okay.
So hopefully that everyone can connect to the single door to see the all visibilities door to door, hopefully, so that we can find out where is your cargo is located and what you need to prepare for.
Okay.
As the importer, in Japan, we are still facing the limited inland haulage. So the
limited view, right? Visibility.
Limited inland haulage.
What do you mean? There's not enough service providers?
Limited drivers as well. That's the huge issues in Japan. Well, it's been about a couple of years, I think.
Okay.
So if we can find out earlier if the vessel being delayed or whatever, ETA has been changed.
All right.
That make us the issue, because we may not hold the haulage to deliver to the customers or warehouse.
Great, thanks, Yoshi.
So that link to the inventory. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Misuzu, what say you?
Hi. Okay. For me, I think everybody agree that at this moment we are in a so diverse logistics environment. It's everything so dynamic, and then we are in a revolution point. I really think what's going on with ocean freight or the land transportation, as you mentioned, the haulage or the air freight market is so dynamic now. And then, so another 12 months and 24 months, the situation will be dramatically changed. It's so different from the beginning of this year. And so to overcome this, the one area is that digitization, we must be ready. So we should, the unexpected can happen anytime. So how much digitized we are or how ready we are, I think is going to be key. And also, what is the business continuity plan? So the one of them is, as I mentioned, is the digitization that we must be ready. So cut off the manual work as of now, and then go for digital. I think that's the key that we have to really overcome for the coming 12 months to 24 months.
Thanks, Misuzu. Sakura?
Yeah, I am not optimistic as Raymond. You were mentioning like next year we're gonna have the vaccine and we're just get the end of the tunnel. I don't know. I don't know that for sure, because 100 years ago, remember the Spain flu, how long it took, almost 3 years. So prepare for the worst. But anyway, after this experience, I guess, like Mrs. mentioned, digitalization and one step further, automation in our industry, gonna gather more and more interests, and that's the direction that this industry will eventually go for.
All right, great. What about yourself, Josh?
I think when we talk about the industry in general, I think really what Sakura, Misuzu, and Yoshi talked about in Japan is really particularly intense there, because they're really facing a twofold situation. They have the pandemic on the one hand, and then they have the demographics problem on the other hand, where even before the pandemic, there was a lack of drivers. There's a lack of staff really to do all this. There was already a push to digitize and automate as many processes and become as efficient as possible with a lack of staff. So I think, especially in Japan, that trend will continue. In general, the industry is going to continue to move towards digitization, data integration, particularly through the use of APIs, kind of this merging of complementary data sets from different platforms to not just drive visibility, but gain that market business intelligence that Misuzu was talking about. Get it to where you can get trends and make smarter decisions based on data.
Okay, thanks, Josh. So Wayne, last but not least, will I have a job in the future, and can I send you my CV? What do you think?
You will definitely have a job, but I can tell you that
as a truck driver,
don't have visibility tools. So I kind of wish we had that. So we really this year was a difficult years, but in the past couple of months we've seen a lot of activities from all the clients. So I'm positive. Well, I want to be positive, looking into the future. And I think, digitalization for us in a different way. I mean, Zoom, the webinars, and it's just kind of, we need to adapt and grow with what's going on in the current situation. But I do wish we had more visibility in our industry as well.
All right, great. Thanks a lot, Wayne. So if I heard from our panelists correctly, visibility solutions, the need to digitize, driven particularly also with due to the shortage of manpower, that's happening in Japan, and I guess even maybe in many other parts of the world as well. But then Yoshi, you said that you expect that the work from home will become more commonplace, and then Misuzu, you talked about business continuity planning, also related to digitalization. And you said that digitalization was just one very important component of BCP, right? Because if there's disruption, you need to be able to go online so that you can have that business continuity, visibility, connectivity, so on and so forth, all those big $5 words, So look, we've come to the end of the webinar on this Fireside Chat. I might like to say thank you very much to Josh and Ocean Insights for hosting this event. Really great. It's the first time Cargo Now actually has a webinar in Japan. And, we've got, even though it's a focus on Japan, we've had participants from 21 countries. So it's a bit of a record for us. I think everyone is very curious about what's happening in Japan. Always part of Asia, but a very different market. I'd like to thank all the participants and the questions. I saw we couldn't answer a couple of questions. I'm so sorry for that. We'll try and answer them offline. I would really and truly like to thank all our panelists. Naresh, great to have you from Nippon Express. Sakura from NYK. Yoshi from Azelis. Misuzu from Schenker. And of course, last but not least, Josh from Ocean Insights. And a really big thank you to my co-host, Mr. Wayne Yoshida. A true gentleman and always a pleasure to work with you, Wayne. Always great to have you, anything that we do together. You will see here that we've got a Conquering COVID-19 Assault Plan report that we just released this week. So Sakura-san, you can see that we say it will be over by, or that we'll be out of the woods by June next year. You can read that report and find out more. Yeah? And hopefully I'm right and you are wrong. I think you'll agree with me. It'll be good if you're wrong in this case. Yeah. But no, thank you everyone.
Later I'm wrong.
Yes. No, but thank you everyone for joining us. I really enjoyed the participation and the conversation, and I wish you all a safe and good rest of the month and week. Cheerio.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Wish you a good day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.